Hi everyone, my name is Mark. I am 26 years old. I'm a rock singer and a musician, and I want to share with you my story, how sugar ruined my music career. You will ask me, how can sugar ruin someone's career? What do you mean? Yes, I mean exactly the sugar that we consume every day. Now I'll tell you everything from the very beginning. I was born and grew up in a family of biscuit makers. My both parents, as well as my grandparents, were biscuit makers. And of course, they got me engaged in their business from my very early days. Well, you cannot make a perfect biscuit without sugar. And when you see all these great tasty biscuits, you want to eat all of them. So you eat all these sweets and you gain your weight very fast. So by the time I went to mid-school, I already weighed almost 200 pounds, but I did not care much about that. However, things changed when I met Marcia, a girl at school who I really liked. She was very pretty and slim. I wanted to get her on a date, and one day I brought her a collection of our homemade cupcakes, and I invited her to go on a date with me. But she said, "You may be making the most delicious cupcakes in the world, but you need to lose your weight and reduce your belly." These words broke my heart, and I sure understood that Marcia likes slim guys, and I do not fit this pattern at all. Marcia's words struck in my head, and since then, I drastically changed my lifestyle. I went into sports. I found a great sports coach, and by the age of 18 years old, I lost all my extra weight, and I looked like a professional model. I also spent all this time writing music, and I'll tell you what inspired me. On the day when Marcia dumped me, I was walking down the street eating my homemade cupcake, and suddenly I saw a poster of some rock band on the wall. These folks on the poster looked just horrible. They were wearing torn-up jeans, burned-out old leather jackets, and they had cropped long hair. They were also tattooed all over. And then two very pretty girls ran up to the poster and began taking selfies in front of it. They were absolutely delighted and in love with these guys. And one of them even shouted to the whole street that she loved the guitarist and would go to their concert. And then I realized I need to become a popular rock musician, and all the pretty girls would love me. As I earned some money from selling our family biscuits, I bought my first guitar in my life. It was an old Fender Stratocaster, but it was in an excellent condition. And you know what? It turned out that I had a talent for this. I learned to play the guitar all by myself, following video lessons on YouTube. So by the age of 19, I was no different from those guys on a rock group poster that I saw in my childhood. Besides, by that time, I became a real virtuoso guitarist. I promoted my own music channel on YouTube, where I recorded covers of my favorite songs. And one day, a manager of a very cool rock music band saw my channel and he gave me a call. So we met and he told me about his band. They were all very young but very promising. The bad guitarist has just left the band. He left for family reasons and decided to change his career. So they invited me for an audition, and I just impressed all of them with my guitar mastery. I was so good with my guitar that they took me as a lead guitar player, and their long-term guitarist Rob didn't mind it at all. So my dream finally came true. But my parents were strongly against it. They wanted me to focus on family business instead. But I was sick and tired of all these cakes and pastries. So I chose my music career. So at that moment, my life drastically changed. We had rehearsals every day. We recorded our first music album and prepared for our first live music concerts. As we were just starting our music career, our rock group needed money to promote our music. So all of us, music band members, had to work and earn money elsewhere. Our drummer was a sales manager in the retail store. Our guitar player was a lawyer. The bass guitar player was a teacher of English. And I got my new job as a pastry chef at a restaurant, even though I promised myself never to engage with sweets again. I was torn between my work and my music career, and I had no free time at all. I always looked stressed out and exhausted because I never had enough sleep. I had to boost my energy. I tried drinking a lot of coffee during the day so that I could focus on writing the album at night, but I still did not get enough energy. Each time, I needed more and more caffeine to keep me going. Then I tried other options, and finally I got hooked on soda drinks. Soda drinks had both caffeine and a lot of sugar. so it helped me to keep myself active and work non-stop around the clock. Time passed, and I got a strong psychological dependence on it. Wherever I was, I always had a can of soda with me. At my work, in a pastry shop, or at a music rehearsal, I always kept my soda cans in our music rehearsal room, so I could always have a drink. My groupmates did not care about that, as they were constantly drinking beer during rehearsals as well. After a few months of our very intense music work, we finally recorded a great album and sent it out to top music label companies. One of these companies liked our album and got back to us. We negotiated and signed a contract with them. After our music album was released, it was a huge success. To follow up on this, we announced our first music live tour and scheduled our concerts in 30 cities in a row. Can you imagine running live music concerts in 30 cities, just one by one? We were working day and night, and I was drinking even more soda to stay alive. Also, after one of our best live concerts, one of our fangirls found out that I used to be a pastry chef before, and she baked a cake herself with a picture of me on it. She really wanted to surprise me with it. I remember giving an oath to myself that I would never eat sugar again. But I was lying to myself because I was already getting heavily addicted to sugar as I was drinking soda all the time. However, this fangirl homemade cake was so tasty that I couldn't resist it. And since that day, I got my old addiction back on top of my new soda addiction. So I started consuming sugar non-stop. With my food and with my drinks, people usually think that alcohol and cigarettes are the worst human habits. But try getting off sugar, and you will see how hard it is. Later, in one of my interviews, it slipped off my tongue that the cake made by my fangirl was one of the best cakes I ever tried. And then I also told the story of my family background in biscuit making. This interview played a bad trick on me. A lot of my music fans watched it and they thought I loved sweets. So ever since then, they were always presenting me with all kinds of candy, cakes, chocolate, and all kinds of sweets. In every city we had our live concerts in, there were local fans who brought sweets cakes to me as a local gift. For example, in San Francisco, after our major live concert, our local fans presented me with a cake that was made entirely with soda. Can you imagine a soda cake? It was like a double blow on me. I could not resist it. It took me about a year to gradually lose my physical shape and become fat again. Another bad habit was our constant sleep deprivation. When we had our live concerts in different cities, we were usually having parties until midnight and would then leave for another concert early in the morning. So we had almost no sleep at all. My usual day was like this. I would wake up early in the morning and take our bus with our band members to go to a new city where we had a concert planned. On a bus, all of our band members would work on our music all together and create new songs for our new music album. The bus ride would take several hours to arrive at our destination. We would then go to a hotel, take a shower, and prepare for an evening live music concert. Then we would meet again and go to a concert stage to get all our music instruments there. Then we would have a pre-party promo event with our local fans and sign our posters and photographs. After that, we would do the music equipment setup and the sound check on the stage. And finally, start and run the live concert. After the concert, we would stay late, dismantle our music equipment and bring it back to our travel bus to prepare for the next concert. Although we were already quite popular by then, we didn't have enough money to pay for the concert logistics and equipment delivery. We did everything ourselves with our own hands. We could only afford to hire a full-time photographer and pay her a very modest salary. So after the concert, we would throw a party for our local fans and party until late at night. Then we would have a couple of hours of sleep and then start a new day and do it all over again. I had a feeling as if I was stuck in a time loop and had the same day and the same ritual repeat over and over again. And yes, I had my everyday liters and liters of soda drinks and all sorts of fan gifts, cakes, candy, sweets, lots and lots of sugar. So time passed, and my long-term sugar diet gradually made me ugly, fat, and unhealthy. I did not pay attention to it for a while, but soon it became clear that I was not popular with girls anymore. Instead, they would follow and like my band members who looked slim and attractive. I was a great womanizer in my earlier days and was on so many dates before, but it all changed when I met Stacy. She was our in-house photographer. She traveled with us to all our concerts and took professional pictures of us that we later posted in our social media and distributed to fans at concerts, promotions, and fan meetings. But something happened to her lately. She became blind to me, and she did not care about me anymore. Instead, I often saw her spending her time with Rob, our lead singer. And then I got another problem. Our band was doing a new professional photo shooting, so we were posing in front of our new concert poster. At this moment, our photographer approached me and asked me to take my place behind the band members and not in front as it used to be before. I felt offended and I asked, "What does it mean?" So he politely explained that I am not in my perfect shape anymore and do not look sexy and attractive, and they would not have me in the center of the promo band photo. They had to bring focus to other attractive band members that are popular with our audience. I was totally shocked to hear that. I did not know what to do as I physically could not stop my sugar obsession. I felt desperate. However, life went on. We had very strong ambitions for our music and our band growth. For the first time in our life, we were supposed to perform at a big festival with 50,000 people. Can you imagine? 50,000 people coming to our concert. That was the last and a most important day of our cross-country music tour. I felt very nervous and I could not sleep that night. I kept on rehearsing and playing on my guitar and perfecting my skills. I was all psyched and could not control my temper. I took a lot of coffee and soda and chocolate to pump me up, but to no effect. So that day I felt like a zombie. I could not focus and play my guitar during our morning rehearsal. I just missed the strings with my fingers. I felt so stressed out. Later on in the evening, when we were already on stage to start our concert, I almost fainted, everything blurred in my eyes. Things just got crazy in my head. I could not control myself, and I completely screwed the first song. My solo part was a disaster. I felt so embarrassed and humiliated that I threw my guitar right on the stage and flew away to our dressing room. I had a real panic attack and I physically could not go back to the stage. So I stayed in our dressing room for all of the concert. Our band manager would come to me and knock on the door many times, and he would ask me to go back to the stage, but I just could not. I felt totally ruined. So the concert just went on, and our second guitar player was playing all the guitar solo parts and was doing everything he could. So they managed to play the concert to the end without me. But they were really mad at me for my nervous breakdown. They would not forget this incident ever since. The next day, the local press published an article that the band lead guitar player had a severe health issue and could not perform at the concert. After my fiasco, I took a sleeping pill and slept for almost a whole day. But it didn't make me feel better. When I woke up, I went to a local bar to have breakfast, and then another situation happened that upset me even more. There were some girls at the bar who were at the concert. One of them recognized me and ran to me to ask for an autograph on her concert ticket. But then her boyfriend called her back and he shouted, "Susan, come back. It cannot be Mark. This is just some fat guy who looks like him." The girl stopped and looked at me in doubt. Then she turned around and she ran back to her friends, and she did not believe that I was the star guitar player from her favorite band. I felt so humiliated. It was all definitely my own fault. I became a sugar addict and now I will have to pay dearly for it. It was a critical moment for me. I understood I had to make a big change in my life, get back into my physical shape, and win my life back. But I had more surprises waiting for me ahead that day. It was all meant to finally crush me. I decided to drop by our music rehearsal studio and pick up the hard drive with our new demo songs that we were writing on the bus during our music tour. I wanted to work with these music ideas at home. So I went there and I took my soda bottle with me. I promised myself it would be the last can in my life before I completely stopped taking sugar. I left the can on the table and went to the bathroom. Then I suddenly heard my colleague Rob walk into the room with a woman. Then I recognized her voice. It was Stacy. I slightly opened the bathroom door and I watched them from behind the door. Stacy saw my can of soda and she laughed. She said, "Look here. It seems Mark has been here today. I'm sick and tired of this fat loser. He's chasing me all the time. What an idiot. Who would ever want to date such an ugly hippo?" I hoped Rob would say something to defend me, but instead he just laughed. And then he and Stacy kissed. I could not believe my eyes. My girlfriend and my best friend were kissing each other. I got furious. I ran out of the bathroom and I knocked Rob to the floor. He hit me back and we got into a fight. As I attacked him, I grabbed my can of soda and threw it at Stacy to hit her too. But she screamed and jumped away and the can strongly hit the guitar amplifier instead. The can crushed and exploded, and the electric amplifier short-circuited and sparked. It was connected to electricity, and the strong push caused a short circuit. In just 1 minute, all the room was on fire. Rob and I quickly opened the entrance door, and then we pushed all our expensive music instruments and equipment out of the fire before it all burned down. These music instruments were all we had. It was our whole life. We had already taken out almost all of our instruments when I suddenly remembered that I put the hard disk with our new music demos on the vocal music column. I had to save these recordings at any cost. We would not record our new music album without them, and I had to save them and get them out of the fire immediately. So I rushed back into the fire, looked around, and I grabbed the hard drive. I almost could not breathe by then. So I rushed into the street with all my last effort left. I saved the album, but my face and hands were badly burned. Rob pulled me out of the burning flames, and then he called the ambulance and took me to the hospital. It took me a long time to recover. Time passed. Rob and I finally made up, and Stacy was fired. Can you imagine that a small can of soda almost took my life away? This is how my sugar addiction ruined my music career. My parents are asking me now to go back to a family business and make biscuits. But I don't want to. My hands were badly burned and I still wear bandages. And the doctors say there is very little chance that I will ever be able to play the guitar again. But I still hope for the best. And I want to go back one day and play with our rock band again. Do you think I have a chance to recover and become a great guitarist again? What would you do if you were me? Write your answers in the comments. And if you liked the video, subscribe to the channel. See you soon.